Let's jump into race 3 of the Zwift Racing League as the series heads to the Big Apple. This week, riders will be taking on New York's Migthy Metropolitan Route, which made its last appearance in the ZRL as a TTT in 2020. However, this week's race is a scratch race, making it an entirely different beast for riders, so let's jump straight into this Recon. The route is 20.1 kilometers in length with a total of 317 meters of climbing. This route is anything but flat and is going to push riders as they need to deal with rollers and the main feature of the race, which is the New York KOM reverse. While there will be opportunities for riders to rest on this course, riders and teams alike will have to be aware of attacks, as this is a scratch race and where you finish at the end is what counts. Bike choice this week, again, it's hard not to recommend the Pinarello Dogma F 2024. This frame is a fantastic all-rounder, and what it gives up to the Venge on the flats, it more than makes up on the climbs. The Pinarello paired with the NV 7.8 turns in the fastest time on the route based on Eric from Zwift Insider's route tests, second only to the Specialized Athos with the Roval Alpinist wheel set by fractions of a second. Given that there will be some high-speed descents in this race, the advantage in the race will have to be given to the Pinarello, as the Athos will probably give up a little too much on the downhills at the higher speeds. But again, it may be a choice for the pure climbers. This week's race may start off a little bit hectic than last week's race because people will know that there is a good deal of climbing coming up ahead. The first test for everyone will come in at 3.3 kilometers within the race when the riders arrive at the base of the first glass tunnel. While this first climb is relatively short at only 700 meters, it is steep, especially at the beginning where the peak elevation hits 11% in the first 100 meters and then hitting 9% again at the 3.9 kilometer mark. The climb ends at the 4.1 kilometer mark, and again, given its relatively short and steep gradient, expect to see some attacks here, as some teams may send a rider off the front looking to stretch out the group and potentially form a break. Riders will gain a short reprieve on the downhill, hit another short punchy climb at the 4.6 kilometer mark. This again is a short climb and hits a max gradient of 11%, and being that it is that short, ending at 4.9, will be another spot where you see some of the punchier riders that may choose to attack. The largest test on the route will come at 8.6 kilometers, but the official marker for the New York KOM reverse actually starts at 9.6 kilometers. This climb is twice as long as the first climb, the first test, and it's even steeper, with the gradient hitting a maximum of 15%. It will be a time for the climbers to attack, and the group will likely be shattered if it hasn't happened already. Coming into the climb, given there's a short descent, some riders may surge before settling into a pace for the climb. If you've selected the Athos and climbing is your thing, this is where you will start your attack, with the goal of creating as much distance as you can before the descent, where those who were left behind will work together to try to close that gap over the remainder of the race. At the 8.9 kilometer mark, there will be a 200 meter reprieve that's draftable before moving into the final portion of the climb, with the max gradients hitting 10% at the 9.7 kilometer mark and then 14% at the 10 kilometer mark. After what is sure to have been an epic battle up the KOM, riders will reach the banner at the 10.2 kilometer mark and receive the Anvil power-up. Those who've created a gap will now work to keep it, while the others who are behind, it's their job to chase them down. Riders will have to ramp up to hit the descent, and lead riders will want to hit that super tuck and deploy the Anvil for maximum effect. You don't want to ease off, or you may see the pack roll away quickly just before the 11 kilometer mark. The descent hits about 16%, which is the optimal place to deploy that Anvil. Do what it takes to stay with the group. With the steep gradient and the draft speeds, it will get fast, and if you are dangling off the bat, you're going to get unceremoniously dumped after a big climb, and your effort will be wasted. At the 14.7 kilometer mark, there is a small bump. With riders with some good recovery in their legs, maybe another opportunity to attack. For those in the lead group to get more of a gap, the remainder of descent and forcing the pace again. If you somehow kept your anvil to the 18.1 kilometer mark, this is your last chance to get your bang for your buck, as it's not going to help you, as the finish of this route is an uphill sprint. At the 19.5 kilometer mark, you will see people starting to think about the finish. Some people will really power into this portion to get momentum up as the maximum 8% gradient as fast as possible. But it will be a balancing act to make sure that they still have the power for that final 200 meters of the sprint. Hopefully this video has helped you establish a strategy going into the race. Best of luck in this week's race. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button so you get notifications. And if you've enjoyed this recon and you want to use the elevation maps in your videos, your live streams, your recons, check out the link below in the video and you can see how you can make that happen. So again, be careful at the end. Don't make the same mistake that I did going into it. I actually stopped when I was doing the recon because I misjudged where the ending was. But until next time, see ya.